Once again.
All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All this meeting, the Infrastructure and Mobility Panel Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Okay. Chairperson Craig Bates,
Here.
Vice Chair Lydia Johns. Here. Panelist Jay Galloway,
Present.
panelist Roger Holt,
Here.
and panelist Jose Tormo said that he would not be in attendance. Do you perform?
Do you have any public comments?
No, sir.
Do you have any private comments?
No, sir.
We need to approve the minutes.
You can do that all at once, or if you want to approve one at a time, it is up to you.
Let's do them all at once unless anybody wants to talk about. Is it okay as written?
I move that we approve all three meeting minutes from May 14th, May 21st, and May 29th. Presented.
Second? Yeah, second. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
You can do a roll call vote, or you can
We need
just
to
do
do a
a,
roll call?
you can do roll call, or you can do a show of hands.
We'll just do a show of hands. All in favor?
All right.
Thank you.
Passes.
Thank you, Suzanne.
We are
Yes,
flying.
ma'am.
Reports from officers and council liaisons. You have a report for us, Lynn?
No.
No.
No report?
You don't want to tell us all about the last city council meeting?
We don't have time. We'll say that for the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Regular agenda, let's do the workshop review. That was a great document, thank you for putting that all together. I'm not quite sure what we need to do at this point. Other than, I think we need to review whether we even need that.
You know, we sat here and we visited about all those points, and those were the things that we were tasked with. And what we came down to, and you guys jump in anytime you want, was that basically we pared it down to just what Turk was gonna do, because all of those projects were approved by council. And, you know, so really, there wasn't anything of any importance. I didn't feel, did y'all? Other than what they,
Other than, a dog and pony for advertising means to show that, hey, something's going on, the speed bumps or traffic control is coming. That's really the only reason that I would see for a town hall, and you could just as easily use a, mass mailing or a, advertise it on next door, as well as having a town hall. That's my 2 cents.
At one time, I thought that, I heard that they had a town hall before, and people offered their comments, and those comments were therefore eventually forwarded to the engineering company, and they made a start on that. I'm talking about drainage mainly. So I thought the town hall meeting coming up was for them to present what they had done to answer the people's input from the previous. So it was like a show and tell, and say to them, this is what we're planning to do unless you speak up. So that was the value of the town hall meeting on drainage. We haven't even seen anything on the drainage yet.
yeah,
The only one that counts really is, I mean, I'm only speaking of drainage because that's the only one as far as I'm concerned that counts. So I think we need something. It may be a working meeting for us. We may not have to go to the town hall meeting, but I think somewhere, somebody promised, I don't know if they promised the residents a town hall meeting.
Well, my thing, what I thought is that, that Mr. Rule had wanted to see a town hall meeting to get the input from the citizens. because often we have gone forward with things without their input, and very often they're far more knowledgeable about what the situation is and what they would like to see solved. So I thought that Kevin had put that in for the point of listening to the residents. I don't know that we have a lot from the engineers, other than some preliminary things that outline how it'll be very costly, and we'll have to go through some kind of special funding. So I thought the town hall was to get input from citizens.
We basically had two drainage areas that were discussed in that. And those were the ones that were discussed at the prior meeting. The Brook Hollow, what was the other one?
Well,
Anyway, sorry, I slept since then. But I understand what Lene is saying. They're talking about putting in these speed humps and these stop signs. And so if we do this, and that's pretty much what's gonna be presented that night, it would give residents a chance to say, I think we need a stop sign there, or what's this with the speed bumps? They didn't ask for speed bumps, I don't think. They asked for traffic calming, but they didn't ask for speed bumps.
Well, it's kind of, the horse is already out in the barn on all that, because it's already been decided, and the council's already on board.
Yeah, I think that the whole issue of speed bumps at this point is just moot, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the council has already decided, are we gonna have speed cushions? Yes. Where are they gonna go? Here, 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 and here. We had an engineering study, the engineering study said, well,
You don't have enough traffic really get
we really ought to put these digital things up first before we do that. City council says, no, we're different, so we're gonna do it our way. Am I right? Am I right?
but we did do some of the digital. No, that would make a difference in the vehicle, but
I'm not reading that situation. So if indeed that's the case, then our role, this panel's role in traffic calming is non-existent. We don't have anything to do.
No,
Present.
until such time as the system is deployed, and then we take input and observe and adjust based on the results of the system's deployment.
So what I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, let it be deployed, and then let's readdress it and have a town hall meeting and let everybody,
Let the council address it, because they're the ones putting them in.
yeah.
I think we're in fire what, if we present it in a town hall meeting,
It looks like
we start ownership, and we don't want to do that. If they're gonna have complaints, let's let them complain to the people that put them in.
I really don't feel like playing political cover
Right.
for the city council. Sorry about that.
also, advisory committee are to advise, do your best work. The city council is under no obligation to follow your advice.
Right,
Often that happens, but,
So we don't have to spend a whole lot more time on stop signs and traffic calming. Can we move, just to remove it from our agenda?
From the time, until such time as it's,
I mean, if it pops back up, I mean, if the citizenry, Cody's probably right. You'll get a half of her populace of each spring, and the other half the same thing.
yeah, well, I think had not all of that water had gone under the bridge before we did this town meeting, then we could have introduced ourselves, what we've been tasked with, and then said, we need your input. What do you want? You know, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Give us what you feel like, you know, I feel that would have been appropriate. But now, they've already done it.
well, pending implementation with, did Kevin get a, RFP out on the street?
No.
For
No.
implementing the signs and whatever. Didn't get there, okay.
There is a pending agenda item. On Wednesday's, agenda that suggests hiring a company that can do several tasks. Like some driveways, some speed calming, some traffic signs. I think it's fairly impractical. I don't think there's such a company. But, it's simply going out for a bid on those things has not been presented yet.
Has the engineering company finished all of their assignment toward those things? In other words, would they be ready for an RFQ? If, I know last time we were here, the engineering company said, had a long list of stuff, but which we actually added to. And they said, yeah, we'll get that package ready, but I don't think they're working on it, are they?
No, it's kind of in a limbo state. For one thing, there was a proposal that they get paid $20,000
Right.
to oversee these things, which it's a lot of dollars for the value. And so, no, but those things have already been approved by city council. Now, it's a matter of how they implement, but it really, the one thing that still is kind of open for the panel is pedestrian mobility. Drainage, those are still open areas. And maintenance, so
What is pedestrian mobility?
walking paths,
Okay,
Yeah,
and there's money set aside in the budget
yeah,
for that,
okay, that's, yeah.
For a study to do that.
percent.
Okay, so let me go back to my original point. If this, I would like to put traffic calming, stop signs and all that kind of stuff, have that council already taken that. Get it off of our agenda. Right, so I would entertain the motion.
Meaning, I'm sorry, point of order, close the workshop. You wanna do that 5:42? And then you can do actionable items after that.
What's that?
we're in the workshop.
Because you're still in workshop, so you can't do a motion during workshop.
Oh, we're in a workshop now?
Yep.
Oh,
Workshop is like a free discussion of,
I just didn't realize that. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
so when you stop, when you,
item 5 is when we leave the workshop and go into
right,
actionable items.
and if there's nothing actionable on workshop, then,
Oh, okay.
you know, you'd say, or I would make a note, of nothing actionable, and then go with that with next, which is, I think.
So we can just make a motion to close the workshop.
No, you just tell me you're gonna close it.
Oh, you can close
I
it.
can make a note,
That works?
yeah.
I think we beat that dead horse.
Well, do we want to talk about are there any discussion items relative to ideas on the drainage or
Yeah, I mean,
Mobility,
that's the next large elephant.
Well, we probably already talked before we close the workshop. Then. Well, I think-
Yeah, because it's under that, the elements of infrastructure, mobility
All
panel, scope of work, which is that document I gave
Yeah,
you.
because I don't even understand what they're doing. I thought I understood what the engineering company was doing, but I thought they were gonna come back with some ideas. They have chart that have, looks like they have needles. These are places where we could have, depending on how you define flood or drainage, we could have problems. And I thought they were gonna come back and narrow that down, but I hear nothing's really been done, so. I don't know where we're at with drainage. If we went up to a town hall meeting, what do they present? What they showed us the other day?
Yeah, pretty
Which
much.
is, I mean, that's not.
That doesn't move us very far.
Well, they probably put up a map of the city of Wood Creek.
Right.
Hey, these are the spots that we think they're
They
making,
had, that's the map they
making
had.
drainage issues. You guys come up, you, the audience, come up and put your dots on the,
Yeah.
Well, and that's what he said. He said this would be the map, and I'm sure there are people that have places that are, you know, drainage issues that we're not addressing. So you're right, stick your sticker up there.
But before that, we're gonna kind of have to define, make some definitions. He didn't have definitions. What is flooding? If you have water in your yard, that's not flooding if it doesn't get in your house, if that's your definition. If
If
you
it's
have water in
flooding,
your,
if it's flooding into your garage, that's flooding.
that's flooding. But if it's not, it's not. But a lot of people, if they see water in their house, I mean, in their yard, say, my yard flooded. So they're gonna put their little pin up there.
Isn't there a distinction that we have to make between flood danger to our infrastructure? Yeah, if it floods, are we gonna wash the roads away? Or-
Exactly.
And then that's different than
Private property.
Joe Smith built a raised tomato bed and redirected all the water into Mary Jones's backyard. Oh darn. That's not our concern.
Well, yes or no?
I
It
mean,
can
That's
be.
my question.
It can be.
It
If
can.
if the city did something to cause that, then yes, we're concerned. But I think that's what we're for, is to make that decision. But typically, sounds like a lot of residents are saying, I've got flooding problems, not yours, not the city's, it's my problem, but I want you to fix it. That's what I'm hearing. Well, that's why I say we need some definitions.
That goes into the same bucket as the driveway.
Well, yeah, it would, should, you'd think it would be, but that we were gonna do four of them? I mean, never mind.
So, okay. So we still need to figure out our next step there.
Yeah.
Relative to drainage. Are we gonna move the process forward? If we have a town hall, say, you know, and we know the city has drainage problems, here's what the engineering group has found so far, you want to add to it. And then what? You know, say, okay, here, engineering firm, put your recommendation together on what we need to do, and in what order, you know, what's the most important, and what's it gonna cost?
And then I guess we would probably put in, depending on how much it costs, and, you know, should cost per location. And then come back and decide, you know, what we budget here, what we budget there, and what's the risk? I mean, some of it is back down to what is the risk, of flooding in that area? You know, to our infrastructure and maybe homeowners.
The areas that we looked at before were, Westwood, Brook Hollow, Wilson, Doolittle, Jack Miller, and, Brookside. Those are four primary areas, but, and, oh, when we did surveys, roads were number one, but now, drainage is a very important consideration to the citizens.
It's also a very important consideration to maintaining those roads.
Yeah.
You've got drainage coming through there. Hog Creek comes right through the middle of Wood Creek, starting from above us. And it's a dry creek, but it goes through, and according to, did you have a?
I did a quick search on definition of flood if you're interested.
Oh, okay.
Okay, weather.gov, says that the simple definition of a flood is an overflow of water onto normally dry land. The inundation of a normally dry area caused by rising water in an existing waterway such as river, stream, or drainage ditch. And then that there's 3 types of floods, and I'm sure as engineers, y'all can probably pronounce this better than me. There's the 3 common flood types are fluvial.
Yeah, fluvial.
Thank you. Fluvial, also known as river floods, fluvial or flash floods, and coastal floods, which are often called a storm surge.
Well, basically, we have one area that is a flood control system, and that's the dam down there by Wood Creek Drive. And it catches the water that comes through Wood Creek before it goes into Cypress Creek and holds it. And that's the only flood control that we have at this point.
Well, do we
Everything else
need
should be
to-
asked.
Are we responsible for that?
No, we're not responsible.
Okay, that's why I
But
said.
that's what I'm saying, is if that name goes, it goes right down into Cypress Creek. But anyway, all of the water that comes across from Mountain Crest down through us comes through Brook Hollow, comes through Jack Miller, comes through the golf course, Camp Young Judea, comes across in sheets across at Cypress Point Drive and down a ravine, and then behind us, down another ravine. And that's where that all flows.
I kind of think like, we have never, although they've said this is your baby, and we're talking about it, we have never been given the opportunity to sit down with an engineering company and tell them what we want them to give us.
That's true.
But before we go to anybody, public or, council, or make any decisions, we've got to get with an engineering company and ask them to help us, show us all the possible flood possibilities and help us prioritize them. And then if we get them prioritized, and we can do that by definitions, what is it, what's gonna happen? Then we could maybe cut out. Somebody comes up and says, well, my yard flooded, well, we agree it is, it's down here, it's number 38. But we're gonna work priority order, but we need to meet with the engineering company again.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I mean, we can't do it.
Because right now, we're just kind of flailing around.
That's right. Without direction.
So is there, of the drainage, dry creek beds that run through the Seawood Creek, has the city ever cleaned any of done any of that or taken any responsibility for cleaning any of the ditches or?
Oh, well, they did one, but they did it with another I think the one at Tremont Trace and Champion Circle was cleaned out. But I don't know who did that. Maybe that was part of that project that somebody else did.
I'd have to look at it.
I don't know,
Yeah.
some of the, you look on the ditch that goes under Brook Hollow, you see various dams that are across the creek there, and then you also see there was a dam down by Doolittle that's been breached. I just,
I
I'm
bet you,
never quite
I bet
sure
you they should answer that question.
whether that, I'm just not sure whether that should have been breached, or was that purposefully, or was that accident?
Yeah, who knows?
It may be a.
Back to Roger's point, maybe we should, before we go to the population and talk about any kind of drainage, we need to have a better, sheet of music than what we're playing off of right now. Because if we go with what we have right now, we're gonna look like a bunch of silly people. And the danger of having a town hall like this, you raise a whole bunch of expectations, and we're not gonna be able to act on them. So why don't
We definitely need to get smarter on this as well.
why don't we go?
First Lady seems to have a lot of background and history in that, and so.
Well, the only reason I do is because I was on that very first roads committee that was like 2013, 14 or whatever. And there was a drainage study done, as far as I can remember. And if I find it, I'm gonna dig it out.
Well,
I have,
Jose mentioned the fact that there have actually been 2
Yeah.
drainage studies done already.
See, I think we need to get
But one
access
was-
to that information, sit down, look at it, kind of ruminate through it, and then, have an engineer look at all of the information that we have, and then compile something. I don't feel good just, I don't know how y'all feel, but I don't feel good with what we have.
I don't either.
Okay.
So,
And it might be good if there's been previous studies done, maybe our engineering firm should be looking at those studies also.
well, there was none, by Kate Freed, and then a pre, I'll compile the studies we have, give it to Suzanne, so that you can each get copies.
Do you have the one that was done way back?
I think I have all the history of it,
Okay,
because.
I know I've got it somewhere. It's in files somewhere.
And some, like the one that was done at Westwood and Brook Hollow, was ineffectual, because they didn't really look at the topography or something.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Some of them we have that just aren't very useful.
right. And the topography may have changed a bit in 2015 when we had that massive flood come through here. So I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that came out through that. And I think you're right. We've got a lot of areas where things are clogged that need maintenance.
So administratively, what do we do next to,
So in workshop, you're,
not do a town hall, to gather up all of our engineering stuff that we have, that's been done already, and schedule a meeting with the engineering company?
when you decide that you're done with discussion. So you come up with a couple of ideas, to gather all the drainage studies and get with it, have the engineer look at those. That can be a recommendation asking council, because that's gonna involve money. Ask council to ask the engineers to use this data and, formulate a study, what do you call it, an evaluation of that and the topographical analysis that they were gonna do, and come back to you with results.
So we need to close the
When you're ready,
workshop.
yes.
Yeah, when we're ready.
and then not doing the town hall will be after you.
Yeah,
About your
we have
workshop.
to make a movement on
The only thing, I don't think that we can compile all these old studies and then ask our new engineering group to make an evaluation on that. I'm not sure how that should be worded, but
Yeah, however y'all want it. It's however y'all want it.
that will cost way too much money for one thing.
Well, I think just to start off with, I think
You guys,
we need that
We need
material to
education.
educate us.
Yeah.
And then based on that education, then we can make a decision after we review that material.
That's the correct order to do this.
and do educated questions when we're in front of somebody. Since we have background. That's hard.
Okay,
Okay.
We're gonna close the workshop at 5:58.
we'll entertain a motion that gets us from, where we are to that point.
Okay, the first motion I'm gonna make is that after this discussion, we see no reason to continue with the town hall.
We see no reason to continue or just postpone it? Did you, I'm sorry.
Just to continue with the town hall. Or hold the town hall,
We're
period.
not going to hold a town.
Yeah, I see no reason to hold a town hall at this point.
All in favor, show of hands.
Who is the second? I guess by speaking.
I second.
Okay.
Roger.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Just check.
If you're gonna vote.
Next.
All right,
So, did you want to make any motions on number 5, or no?
I thought we just did.
Yeah, I thought
We're not gonna hold a town hall, so there's no work.
Okay, so we'll kind of combine it. Okay. Okay.
And so we took care of number 6 too. And now we're down to budget.
now we're down to where we are. Have we made our way to 7 then?
Is there any other studies or anything else that's been done on the mobility or trails?
The county has some.
yeah, and
plans.
I worked with the city manager on that, but as far as us hiring a trail study. I can compile what we discussed as when I was chair of the committee.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I was looking for background material on the trails and personal mobility or whatever they're called.
I'm confused about that trail study or the mobility. Being fairly familiar with this town, is there a possibility of even having a place to go forward with that? I mean,
Walking trails?
yeah,
I think we really have to look at it. I think there are locations
Do you?
within the city that walking trails could
Be
be
done.
done.
okay, that's what I wanted to.
And we can bring that on the next agenda,
And
Yeah.
because we don't want to go too far off, because we're already.
Right.
Yeah.
discussing.
But it would require maybe working with golf course or working with, other parties or with homeowners,
Okay.
landowners in order to implement said trails.
Or along the perimeter of the city.
Yeah.
Where there's easements.
Okay.
Before we do that, I would like to put the road maintenance budget and road maintenance plan, get it finalized so that money can be, saved for maintenance after all of our weekend cuts. Get that care for sure.
When is or was the council budget planning meeting?
We're going to have an early one on Wednesday, an hour before the main meeting,
Yeah, it's a budget workshop on Wednesday.
Okay,
but we're very preliminary.
good, that's, I like that word.
My understanding from the road committee, that surplus money, the money that we did not spend, was to be reserved for future road maintenance. Is that?
The 425,000
That's not right.
was to be preserved, earmarked for future drainage. Oh, wait, no, I'm thinking drainage. There's 425,000 for drainage. There's about 820,000 from the road bond that, that's for roads. We've got Deerfield, many part of it. It would be very wise to have a maintenance plan that maybe earmark some of that before it's wander around.
It was never specifically allotted, though,
No.
that extra,
No,
but we need to grab what our part is.
Yeah, I don't know if the INM panel can make a recommendation that really belong to the road committee.
you are really the road.
Yeah,
But we need to take whatever steps need to be taken to earmark that money for road maintenance. So that it goes into protected fund.
Make the point that under that, then we will prolong the life of these roads.
Absolutely.
And so it's part of the whole package.
And part two of that, which is the maintenance plan, draw up a maintenance plan for roads, and I'm sure somebody has all kinds of formulas that you have X number of roads at this type. Here's your annual expected expense, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a statistic.
Who had some expertise in that, don't you?
County has some. Who? County.
County. I know that they had something because they were a part of that group that I worked with at the very beginning. And they had kind of a formula for road maintenance.
You check and see where that might be, where we could go.
I don't know. I think, well, we had, I'm sure he's gone long ago, but
His name just escapes me, he's a lion. This guy we work with. Who's in charge of Ames County Road Maintenance?
yeah, who is that? You can't remember.
Away, but look at my.
Don't flutter back.
You talking about Aaron Jones?
that's
There,
what I think.
That wasn't the guy's name.
No, it's,
Like I said, the one that we worked
That
with
was
was long
here.
gone, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right now, Aaron's head of county maintenance road.
okay, well then he'll have, he'll
He definitely like, it.
That Rebecca
Yeah.
husband?
and somebody, he could probably put us in touch with somebody at the state of Texas that could, as a type of formula.
well, that's the idea, is to use the experts to help us
Sure.
learn.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I know you have it, they have it, so.
So did you want to make a motion on that item?
Yeah, I think we certainly need to make sure that the recommendation for that money is formalized and given to the city council.
All right.
As far as the maintenance plan itself, we're just gonna have to do a little work on that, like who we can talk to.
All right, let's formulate a motion then. What are we doing? What are we doing? We need to formulate a motion.
Need to formulate a motion that formalizes the assignment of the surplus monies from the road bond to road maintenance. All we can do at this point, right? Make that recommendation.
I mean, you can always throw out a number, but the research with who do you want, if you want to reach out to the county, who's gonna reach out to the county to get this,
Do you do that?
I can, with Ms. Davies help.
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
For road maintenance.
Just about to have a motion, here, a little bit more.
Hold on, there's you go. Can you do my chicken scratch?
I don't move.
I know, but I want to make sure
Yes,
that's,
for moves.
okay. All right, I move that we formalize the assignment of the surplus monies from the road bond be designated for road maintenance.
Second to that? Second. All in favor, show of hands. Aye. Pass unanimously.
Alright.
So we have a road maintenance and budget plan.
You have the
Yeah.
beginning- you have the beginnings of an idea.
So according to the Reason Foundation, which is a organization, and they just collect information. They say the state of Texas, per lane mile, spent 10,000. $10,623 per lane mile in road maintenance.
For year?
Per lane mile.
Per lane mile.
That's 200,000,
40,200
it'd be 200,000, because we've got
Right.
It'd be 20,000,
11 miles.
$20,000 per mile.
Yeah.
But that's different types of roads, different types of situations.
That's,
Very widely, maintaining country roads, rebuilding country roads.
Your big
Yeah,
feeder
it would
roads will
help,
take more maintenance than your smaller
Well,
roads.
hang on.
The
There's a
ones
mile
that
per creek.
don't have a good road base, that have the big heavy trash trucks turning around in cul-de-sacs will cause problems. Let's see, there's a lot of different variables to that.
by the way, Garrison Trail, which I live on, I'm proud to say, we now move all of our trash cans out to Cypress Street.
Good.
So we don't have that trash truck, two trash trucks
Smart.
coming into that poor little cul-de-sac and doing their K-turn to get turned around.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we don't have that up there where I am either. They go up and go down.
There's a good look, there's a good infrastructure ordinance, and everybody drag their garbage cans out the street, the big street.
The big street, the feeder road.
Okay,
Okay,
we got a little time left. Let's go.
Introduce one. Just for you guys to think about, there is that one leg of Deerfield that's going to have to be paved. I don't know if that's something that the road committee, should be a part of. Certainly it's going to be.
See this 10-foot pole I have right here?
Okay.
It's kind of like traffic calming.
All right,
No.
you want to stay away. Okay, it still will be about 150,000.
He's on his own with that one.
Okay, well, good, you got that one then.
You can always amend, well, no, you already voted on it. They could make a motion to not include Deerfield or just leave it.
No. Put me use the word.
Yeah, you have to stay with that one, right?
Well, the two main things I wanted to get done today were done. We got what we know what we're gonna do with the, or not gonna do with the town hall. We go over, input to the city council on the road maintenance dollars, and we will work on the plan. I did want to spend a little time on prioritizing what we do out of our scopes, out of our scope of work.
Yeah.
What should we look, what could we be working on next? I mean, we know what we're doing with drainage,
yeah,
that process has started.
maintenance. The maintenance part.
So we have the paths, we have,
Yeah.
extra land for expansion stuff, parks and a new town hall or a new city hall, whatever that was in there in our scope of work.
Where's that piece of paper? I didn't bring it with me. It had everything listed.
So drainage plan, fiscal capacity plan to anticipate and plan for future improvements to existing and proposed infrastructure, i.e. land for public parks, trails and green spaces, acquisition of land for community meeting place, expansion of city hall or other government properties. That's one. Wow. And physical improvements upon existing public parks, green spaces or government properties. Drainage and flood mitigation, we've already got that. Pedestrian mobility, that's on the traffic calming X. Budget for regular traffic controls and reports and monitoring traffic management, city on electronic devices, seek engineering government community.
It's traffic calming.
Until the existing plan is implemented, that, we have no action.
Was maintenance over there? Was maintenance over there?
Yeah,
Maintenance of road was over there?
Yeah, that's what.
yeah, developer road maintenance plan.
The things that we haven't really talked about that we need to say, okay, we need to get on these right away, or we can push them down our agenda a little bit. Basically are the planning for paths for the best. And, looking for land, I guess, to expand. That, we can use that. Wait, that vision.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
What was this for?
I will ask,
Well, you really don't have to move it down, and you can just put it in a year a lot far away from us.
right,
We're gonna do that
yeah, we'll do it, we'll get to that.
in 2064.
What do we do with this?
The stipend
That's
that
just comes. information letting you know that, you do receive some funds for road maintenance, not much. It's very specific what road that applies to.
That's fine.
Okay.
And they've done that for quite some time.
Yes.
Anybody have anything else, anything we want to add?
So I'm sorry, which order did you want these in? So you say road maintenance is first, and then drainage?
Well, they're kind of silent.
Yeah.
That's not really a rank order. For the road maintenance thing, we've basically done at this point what we could do until we get, some expertise on how to decide what the maintenance plan ought to be. And it may not be anything more than, okay, then we spend X amount of years and fix things.
Well, included with that maintenance plan has gotta be that road cutting
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
or whatever you're going.
Yeah. That's an ordinance issue. How do you get an ordinance written?
can they make a recommendation? to
You can make
plan
a
some?
recommendation to council to revisit that road cut.
Yeah.
I don't know where it went. I know it was something that Kevin had looked into, but
Okay.
I don't know how
Yeah,
far.
then let's move that.
Well, we
And
can't right now.
recommend city council revisit the ordinance on tree cutting and update accordingly.
Yeah, yeah.
Road cutting, not tree cutting.
Road cutting.
Though I would like them to revisit the
Maybe
tree cutting.
cutting.
Well, it kind of goes along with road maintenance and budget plan. So
Yeah.
it's very skimpy on it, but I
Mhm.
think we could,
Squeeze it.
yeah, squeeze it in. So I make a motion with regard to road maintenance that council revisit the, cutting, the road cutting, by utilities or anyone else. Because that's gonna cause us more road maintenance.
And I know Kevin has pretty specific thoughts about that. About, you know, how you had to get permission, how big a cut you had to make, whether if there was some consideration, you think they go under, but,
Yeah. Okay, so we need a second on that. We can discuss.
He did by Tony.
Oh, he did, okay. All right,
So your motion was a recommendation that council revisit the road cutting by utilities or anyone else in the city.
Do we have,
Do we,
with respect to road maintenance. That's how I brought it in.
do we wanna just make that and send it to them, or, I mean, they're liable to just say, no, we're not under, I mean, don't we need to say, have some input to that changes?
Yes, we do. We've got it.
shouldn't we provide them some specifics
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
associated with what our recommendation is?
You can bring it back at your next meeting and I can provide a copy
yeah,
of,
let's do that. So we know what the current ordinance is.
since he hadn't technically restated the motion, it can be withdrawn.
I'll withdraw it until next meeting.
Yeah, because even Kevin back then, and if I remember right, I may not be remember, but he said, under the present ordinance, if we just enforced it, we'd be all the way ahead. And he was doing it at the end, after the new road. He kept telling the utilities, you ain't cut the road, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, because there is an ordinance right now that you're not supposed to cut the road.
Right, so I think we'll see that when we next meeting.
Yeah, that's the idea.
I've seen some evidence of it, I walk on, Doolittle, I saw that the charter put a cable under the road and they went under the road.
Yeah,
Though they did set their pedestals right next to the street. Richard.
Oh, well,
Yeah, come on, guys, you couldn't go another 6 feet of cable.
I mean, you couldn't go another 16 inches? I mean, they're just far from the roadbed.
do you remember the cable that hung from the trees on Wood Creek Drive for a while? That was interesting. So what's up there? Oh,
Currently, they were on, new phones.
yeah.
Did you want to set your next meeting date?
Oh, yeah, our normal time, right?
That would be
Was it second Tuesday?
the ninth.
do the next, at 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock?
That's what we've got, we moved it back to 5 instead of 5:30 for all day.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I have it at 6, but it's 5 o'clock. I will edit that, so I will not be late.
So the 9th,
Tonight at 5 o'clock here.
I should be back from my, 10 o'clock VA appointment by then.
And that's when the town hall was set for.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
That's why you had 6.
That's why I
I think that
said,
sounded familiar.
so we're not doing that. Okay.
Any other business?
Do you have any other announcements?
Hmm?
Do you have any other announcements?
Don't need to make that up.
Besides the next meeting, right?
All right, next meeting, tonight, 5 p.m.
All right,
Meeting's adjourned.
thank you so much.
One second.